Trump said Zelensky was going to sign a minerals deal with the U.S. at the White House today. He had softened his language about Zelensky and Ukraine in recent days. The two leaders met in the Oval Office. Vice President J.D. Vance was there as well, and in front of the cameras got into an extremely tense and awkward exchange. It all started when Vice President Vance accused the Ukrainian president of grandstanding in front of the American media.
Into this conflict.
Have you ever been to Ukraine that you say what problems we have?
I have been to...
Count once.
Don't tell us what we're going to feel.
I'm not telling you.
Because you're in no position to dictate that. You're not in a good position. You don't have the cards right now. With us, you start having cards. Right now, you don't. You're playing cards. You're playing cards. You're gambling with the lives of millions of people. You're gambling with World War III. You're gambling with World War III. And what you're doing is very disrespectful to the country, this country, that's backed you far more than a lot of people said they should have. Your country's in big trouble.
Can I answer?
No, you've done a lot of talking. Your country is in big trouble.
I know.
You're not winning. You're not winning this. You have a damn good chance of coming out okay because of us.
Mr. President, we are staying in our country, staying strong from the very beginning of the war. We've been alone, and we are thankful. I said thanks
you haven't
in
been
this
alone.
cabinet,
You
and not
haven't been
only
alone.
in this cabinet.
We gave you, through this stupid president, $350 billion.
You voted
we gave
for
you
your
military equipment,
You
and you
voted
men
for
are
your
brave, but they had to use our military.
What about
If you didn't have our military equipment, this war would have been over in 2 weeks.
In 3 days, I heard it from Putin. In 3 days, this is something
Maybe
new.
less.
It actually kept going, and after all of that, the president released this statement on social media saying in part, quote, "I have determined that President Zelensky is not ready for peace if America is involved because he feels our involvement gives him a big advantage in negotiations. I don't want advantage, I want peace. He disrespected the United States of America in its cherished Oval Office. He can come back when he is ready for peace," unquote. President Zelensky left the White House. A planned news conference with both presidents was canceled, and that critical deal for Ukraine's rare earth minerals was not signed. Leading us off this hour, NBC News White House correspondent Yamiche Alcindor. Yamiche, it was really an extraordinary day, and I know you have some new reporting about what happened at the White House after the shouting match we just heard. What have you learned?
That's right, Kate. We have never really seen anything like this in an Oval Office spray. This was an extraordinarily testy exchange between President Zelensky and President Trump, and after the cameras left, White House officials tell us that President Trump huddled with his advisors and decided that President Zelensky was not ready for peace talks and that he wanted him to leave the White House, effectively showing him the door, as Secretary of State Marco Rubio and the National Security Advisor were informing President Zelensky and Ukrainian officials that they needed to leave. The president posted that statement online saying that Zelensky was not ready for peace. We also understand, this is from the White House's perspective, that Ukrainian officials wanted to stay at the White House, were asking to reset the conversation and wanted to sign that rare earth minerals deal that was expected to be signed. But President Trump and the White House say that that was not something that the president wanted to do. They also said that they felt extremely disrespected because they saw President Zelensky rolling his eyes and shrugging his shoulders. So that was also part of this very personal exchange, Kate.
And what have we heard from President Zelensky? What do we know about what he has planned? I guess he's still in Washington. Do we know what he's doing?
That's right. President Zelensky is still in Washington. He was supposed to be having a press conference with President Trump. Of course, that was canceled. We have heard from him post online. Here's what he said on Twitter. He said, "Thank you, America. Thank you for your support. Thank you for this visit. Thank you, President of the United States, Congress, and the American people." He went on to say Ukraine needs just and lasting peace, and we are working exactly for that. We also know that President Zelensky is expected to have an interview with Fox News. We're not sure whether or not that's going to still happen, though Fox News is saying it is still scheduled and still going to happen. Kate?
And a lot of members of Congress have an interest in what happens with these peace talks. Yamiche, what are we hearing from them?
Well, we really are hearing both political parties sort of going into their respective corners. Democrats are calling this Oval Office exchange shameful, saying that President Trump is playing into the hands of Russia. We had Senator Dick Durbin, who's co-chair of the Ukrainian officials, the co-chair of the Senate Ukraine caucus. He said, "I extend my sincere apologies to President Zelensky and again reaffirm my support for our Ukrainian friends." That's Democrats really being critical of President Trump. But we also heard from Senator Lindsey Graham. He's a Republican. He spoke just outside the White House. Take a listen.
what I think, complete, utter disaster. What I saw in the Oval Office was disrespectful, and I don't know if we can ever do business with Zelensky again.
It's also very interesting that Senator Graham said he warned President Zelensky not to, quote, take the bait, meaning that he wanted him to know that he shouldn't get angry or emotional if President Trump sort of said anything that might cause him to do that. So it's very interesting that he sort of warned President Zelensky going into this meeting. We're not sure exactly if that meant that he had some sort of understanding that President Trump and Vice President Vance were going to berate him. But it really is interesting that he's saying that. But a lot happening at the White House today, Kate, an extraordinary day.
Yeah, Michelle Sindor, thank you so much. We are following breaking news on the health of Pope Francis. The Vatican released a statement today